The man thrust the spear into his own chest. The next second, he forcibly tore open a gash. Then something strange happened. Qin Shi Huang, standing opposite him, suffered the exact same injury. To the others watching, Hades, the king of the underworld, might have seemed insane. Little did they know, this was merely one of his gambits to secure victory. Hades had exploited Qin Shi Huang's ability to sense the pain of others, using it to deal him a devastating blow. Next, Hades began humming the very same tune Poseidon had once sung. He then smeared blood over his head and tidied his hair, giving Qin Shi Huang no time to react. Hades charged forward, spear in hand. Qin Shi Huang locked his aim on the starlight glowing on Hades' body and unleashed a blast of compressed air. But the moment the blast hit, Hades abruptly altered his movement. He shifted what was meant to be a thrust into a swift downward slash. Hades had already figured out how to counter the air blast. That move would no longer threaten him, and the blood he'd smeared on himself served another purpose. Before anyone could notice, the blood had wrapped around his spear. Everyone who witnessed this was left utterly stunned, for the blood of the underworld king was no ordinary divine blood. Hades wielded immense life force. Any divine artifact nourished by his blood would undergo a powerful evolution. Sure enough, the spear in Hades' hand began to mutate and transform, the spikes on its tip twisting and interlocking. But this enhancement came with a deadly side effect. Once the spear drained all of Hades' life force, he would fall, never to rise again. Hades had played his final trump card. His next strike would be his ultimate.
Gnash him to threads, Desmos! Force of them!
No holds barred attack. The damage it inflicted left everyone aghast. As he stared at Qin Shi Huang, who stood gasping in the distance, Hades revealed why he could not afford to lose. It was all for a promise he'd made as an elder brother. In the eyes of all, Hades possessed the might to crush any formidable foe. All beings revered him, daring not even to speak his name aloud. Yet he was also a god whom all the deities trusted without hesitation. The cause of the matter originated from the most devastating giant war in heavenly history. 1,000,000 years ago, after Zeus defeated his father Cronus and ascended as the new king of the gods, he failed to gain the approval of his grandmaster, Gaia, the mother goddess. Thus, Gaia led the mightiest race of giants she had nurtured in an assault on the heavens. From that moment, the giant war erupted in full force. The Greek pantheon fought back with all their strength, yet the giants, wielding overwhelming power, crushed everything in their path. In an instant, the tide of battle turned grim. Countless gods lay gravely wounded or felled in battle. Facing this dire crisis, Zeus, then in the prime of his power, planned to lead the remaining gods in a desperate last stand. But just then, Hades received an urgent report from the underworld. Tartarus had been breached. It must be known that Tartarus imprisoned the most terrifying evil deities of all, the Titans. The giants' invasion had allowed Cronus' Titan army to break free, and they sought to join forces with the giants for a pincer attack on the heavens. If their plan succeeded, the heavens would surely fall. Therefore, Hades, as king of the underworld, returned alone to his realm to suppress the Titans. Yet he left his own soldiers behind to reinforce the heavens. Soon after, Zeus led the remaining gods in a head-on confrontation with the invading giants. No one knew how long the battle raged, but the heavens claimed victory at an unspeakably tragic cost. Yet as the gods cheered their hard-won triumph, Hades was nowhere to be found. Upon hearing word of his absence from enemy soldiers, Poseidon rushed to Tartarus. When the gates of Tartarus creaked open, what met his eyes was a sea of Titan corpses. Hades had already ended the battle. Utterly alone, with no aid but his own strength, he had slaughtered the entire Titan race. Driven by the unshakable resolve to protect his younger brothers, Hades had never once doubted he would win. "I swear to you, brothers," he said, "I will never lose to anyone. In the name of your elder brother, I make this vow." Poseidon, proud and arrogant by nature, was deeply moved. For the first time, he called Hades brother, and a profound bond was forged between them. Now, as Hades stands on the battlefield, he fights not just for himself, but for Poseidon too. Now, the focus returns to the battlefield. Qin Shi Huang's divine weapon lies shattered. The situation has grown extremely dire. The Valkyrie suffers the same wounds as Qin Shi Huang, and in the human stands, Sasaki and the others have realized the gravity of the crisis. Qin Shi Huang's ultimate technique, weighed down by his severe injuries, may never be unleashed at full power. On the battlefield, Qin Shi Huang knows his chances of victory are slim, so he resolves to stake everything he has left. The Valkyrie sees his unwavering determination and bestows all her power upon him. As a blinding beam of light bursts forth, Qin Shi Huang's divine weapon evolves into its final form.
Divine Vambraces! Sword of Gotchin!
The best defense is offense. Qin Shi Huang abandons his former defensive stance. In this moment, his aura swells to overwhelming heights, his eyes blazing with unyielding fighting spirit. Across from him, Hades' excitement matches his own. His spear hums with crushing pressure, sending his robes fluttering violently in the wind. One is the proud king of the underworld, bearing the honor of the gods. The other is the emperor of China, fighting for his people. In this clash of two kings, who will claim victory? To know what happens next, please continue to follow me.